Welcome everyone to Culture Report. Today we have a special edition for you. We're going to teach you today how to become a virtual real estate agent. In these crazy times that we're having right now with so much precautions around spreading viruses and germs, we're going to teach you how to not halt your business if you're an active real estate agent. A lot of sellers are requesting for their homes to be taken off the market. A lot of sellers are requesting for their open houses to not be done. So how do you get ahead? How do you close these properties and make money during these times? Well, today we're going to cover 3 things that you can do as a real estate professional in order to not only make money, but also distinguish yourself from the competition. So first things first, a lot of homes are not going to want to be shown. So what can you do? You're going to go out there and you're going to create a really high quality video. You're not going to go out and hire an expensive videographer. You're going to use the tools you may already have and maybe just a few add-ons that'll just cost you a couple dollars. First things first, you need to have a good, high-quality smartphone. We all have them. Most likely you have an iPhone or an Android. And if you do have them, then I'm going to show you 2 tools that you're going to use to make your life a lot easier. The first tool that we recommend is a gimbal, a stabilizer. The one that we have is a very common one that you've seen a lot of people use, probably in events, or maybe somebody in your office already has one. There's different companies that make them. We're going to leave a link to the description down below. Now you can get these anywhere between $50 to $300 depending on how much money you want to spend on it. But that's necessary because it's going to make the stabilization of your video a lot better. The next tool you're going to need is audio. A lot of people say that people will watch a video with bad video quality, but they will not watch a video with bad audio. So the next thing you're going to want to use is this little guy right here. You're going to need to get yourself a lapel mic that is compatible with your smartphone. So it's a portable device. The reason why you want to use that is because your audio is going to be really well enhanced, and people on the other line are going to get a much better experience. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go into the home and record a really good video. The way you're going to do this is as followed. So first things first, we want to make sure that we remove the case from the phone because the gimbal will not react correctly with a case. All you need to have left is just your bare phone, whether that's an iPhone or an Android. Now the next thing we need to do is learn how to mount it onto the gimbal. It's not just slip it in and turn it on. You have to actually make sure you balance it correctly. If not, you'll burn out your gimbal. So first things first, let's go ahead and slip it in. And make sure we push it all the way down, all the way in, and we're going to want to mount it and we're going to balance it before we actually even turn it on. If we try to do this when the gimbal is on, we will definitely burn out the engine. So as you can see right now, the gimbal is going all over the place. It's not really stabilizing itself too well. It's leaning towards one side. So what we want to do is we want to play around with the adjustment until it's stable 100% by itself before we turn it on. The way to do that is by taking this adjustment here and sliding either left or right until the gimbal starts to balance itself out. So I just made a small adjustment, and as you can see, it's tilting to the right, or my right, your left. And now I did it the other way, now it's going the other direction, so I'm almost there. I just need to make a small adjustment, and it should balance itself out for the most part. Let's see a little bit more. All right, so that looks pretty good. All right, so now we're stable. We'll go ahead and turn on the gimbal. And now the gimbal is completely stable. No matter what I do, the gimbal will now react and balance itself out. Okay, now we're gonna show you how to walk into a room and how to properly show a room. Okay, so when you show a room, you wanna make sure you start your pan from right to left or left to right, but you stabilize yourself and you stabilize the movement as much as you can. The slower you go, the better. If you make your movement too fast, the viewer is going to get dizzy when they see it on their side. So make sure you take nice, slow movements, just like this. The stabilizer is also a great tool to show people how one room transitions into another. Besides the introduction and the closing, you shouldn't really be talking on your video. You should get some high quality music and you can play it over the entire portion of the video. The reason you do that is because you don't want to over exaggerate about the home or say things that might be considered puffing. You don't want to get yourself in trouble, and you don't want that video to live on the internet somewhere where it could be used as evidence later on. Not that you will purposely say something wrong, but we just never know. Next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that that video is uploaded into your MLS where it's applicable to do that. Some MLSs will not let you upload a video that is not with a valid vendor, third-party vendor that provides open houses. The way you can go around that is by just leaving a link in the description or leaving a link in the showing instructions where it says how to show the home. You can put visit my website, YouTube/ and whatever your website on YouTube is. That way the video can be seen there. If you have a direct link to that video, you can even put the direct link there. Now, always check with your MLS before you do that, just to make sure that they have that's the best practice for them to do it that way. If not, then you can work with them and see how they'll go about in doing that. I guarantee if we all reach out to the MLSs and ask them to do that for us, we'll have that option in no time. Okay, next thing we need to figure out how to do. How do we conduct a public open house without having the public there? I got this question asked to me over the weekend, and it made me think, that's a really good idea. How do we do that? We need to have a virtual open house, but how do we get the people to understand what the terms are and how to do it? So what we do is this. We're gonna go to zoom.com, a very popular meeting website, and we're going to create an account. We're also going to get the application for our cell phone, which will allow us to use our cell phone's camera to show the viewer what we're seeing. So we're going to create our site, but in the settings section, it's very important for you to do this one step. In the settings section, you need to make sure that you create a registration before going to the live video. The registration will allow you to collect phone numbers, email addresses, and full names. That way, when people are logging in to your live stream, you're going to be able to have their information captured without them having to fill out a sign-in sheet. Now, once you have done this, there's a strategy in which it will make you more productive. You're going to want to hold open houses on the hour, every hour. And why you do that is because you want to make sure that all the people congregate at certain times and then they walk through the home with you. If someone pops in halfway through the stream, obviously they're going to be a little bit lost, but you can tell them to come back at the top of the hour and then you can start again from the beginning. It'll save you a lot of trouble having to do it every 15 minutes or having to do it every 5 minutes, where you can just schedule on the hour, every hour, an open house. Now, once you're done, obviously you're going to have to reach back out to the people that were watching the live stream. The reason why is because some people are actually going to be really interested in the home, but not too many people are going to be ready to make an offer on a house that they haven't stepped foot in. And this is where you can really separate yourself from other real estate agents. So there are going to be families that are going to want to see the home before they make an offer after the open house. Now, how do you take care of this situation? Well, the option that you have is the following. We need to get the seller first to make sure the home is disinfected. That means cleaning all the surfaces and getting the home free of any debris and clutter. Once that's done, make sure that they are not home for the showing, and then you schedule the families, if there's more than one, at least an hour apart so they have enough time to see everything. Once the families do show up to the home, it's suggested that you have certain things ready for them. First things first, get some slip covers for their shoes, get some gloves for their hands, and if they have them available, get some masks for the people to have over their face. Once they feel that it's safe to go inside, let them go through the home as much as they want and answer any questions they might have. Remember to keep your distance at least 6 feet from anybody that's in the house at the time to make sure that both you and the client are both safe. And remember, none of these things are required, but it's going to show your clients how much of a professional you truly are. This may be the way of the future. We don't know. The only thing we do know is that currently right now things are starting to come to a halt, and this is the way that you can continue doing business even through a crisis like this.